everyone. If you are just tuning in, you are listening to Level Up Nation, and I'm your host, Stacey Preer from the Dustin Pritchard Real Estate Team. And I am joined with my co-host, Dustin Pritchard.
Who's still crying because we were laughing off camera.
And also our special guest, Jonah Melva. How's it going, Jonah?
Pretty good. I'm trying to keep a straight face right now, but really good.
So for anyone who's just listening and not tuning in, Jonah is a tomato. And this has been my new thing, apparently. I really enjoy making our guests blush and making Dustin lose his shit and laugh. So maybe we will have to have...
You're so good at it!
Yeah. We're going to have a charmingly inappropriate prayer blooper reel before the show. It's just that you lose, guys.
I'll get my regular color back shortly. This is also a little bit of sun from the beautiful sunshine we're having today too. So
yes, definitely, we'll roll with that. So today we are talking about mortgages, but we're talking about our first times. So Dustin, my lovely co-host, of a man, please do tell our audience about your first time.
My first time. Oh my God. You know what? My first time I was scared. Oh, I can tell you straight up, like if you've never gotten a mortgage before, signing on that dotted line, you all of a sudden get a mortgage and you're looking at it, it's like a whole bunch of debt and everything else. Oh my God. Anyways, but don't be afraid. It's actually the coolest thing in the world, because I was actually the very first time that I got a mortgage, I had saved up a bunch of money. I was living in an apartment. I actually didn't own my own home, and I had aspirations of becoming a landlord. So I bought a student rental. So my very first mortgage was actually a student rental on Oxford Street. I wish I kept it because it worth 4 times as much today that it was when I bought it. But hey, you know, it's such as life in real estate. Time is your best friend. But you know what? That was my first mortgage. I'd saved up some money. I was living in a rental unit, and I said, you know what? I didn't want to buy my own house just yet. I wanted to build my portfolio first, so that's what I did.
Nice. And now, how did you have an interesting story too about the actual mortgage that you currently have?
Oh, the mortgage in?
If you recall, yes.
Yeah.
Your cottage or stone home came with a little bit of a caveat, didn't it?
Yeah, the Flintstone house. Yeah, it did actually. It was interesting because, and Jonah can speak to this. Almost every single deal, and you and I know this as realtors as well. Almost every single deal is different, right? Deals are like snowflakes. There's always something, right? On the student rental property, I had to contend with renting out a current place and being able to support the second place. So I had to make sure that my income was there to support that, because, you know, obviously we need to be able to support both, and they wouldn't take the student rental income to be able to do it. In the stone cottage, it's actually interesting because I went through the process of getting the application, got approved, waived all conditions, right? Because that's what you do. It's conditional on financing, right? So we did conditional on financing, waived all the conditions, got the thumbs up from a mortgage broker. And then about a little less than a week before we actually closed, the bank says, you know what? We just did what do you call it, Jonah? A market, not an appraisal, but it's like a desktop appraisal, so to speak. And they found out that my house, they found out my house, the cottage, was in cottage territory, cottage areas, and typically they're seasonal. Now this is 4 seasons and everything else, and I was moving into it and live here full time. Love living on the lake full time.
Not
awesome.
Moving into it,
right? But you know, and then they said, you know, because it's typically it's in an area that is typically either rented out or they got cottages or whatever, second home, we want you to put down more money. And this is after that I got the approval. They investigated it and they said, no. You're going to have to come up with another $40,000. And that was a hit. That was, we had it. But still, you know, you get an approval and you got your down payment, but 40 G's, like
40 G's.
You're 40 G's.
You're signing off like this. But yeah, it was okay because it's all equity and everything else too, right? But yeah, every single deal, very, very different. It's always really good to have a good professional on the other side to help you out.
Absolutely. Jonah, can you tell us a little bit about your first time?
Well, my first time, I was just out of university and bought a condo.
Okay,
It was awesome. I was working, I don't know, 3 jobs maybe at the time. Saved up the down payment in a few months because that's what you could do at the time. Probably about the same time you bought yours, Dustin.
Yep.
You didn't have to, wait months and months and months to save up your down payment. It was somewhat regular. Average Joe income could save up enough money in 3-4 months to be able to put down for a purchase. I moved home to help save up that down payment a little bit faster, but I was at the age where it was no big deal. All he was doing was working and sleeping, and it worked out well. And bought a condo, and right before the market went up at the time, so it turned out very profitable, and sold that and bought another place, and probably do it again.
Cool.
So it was
Did
really
you
good
move
process.
to that condo, or was that a rental?
Oh, it was a condo, and then I rented it out afterwards after I'd lived there for a few years and bought another place and whatnot, and eventually sold the condo, which again shouldn't have done because, that $4,000 that I invested at the time would be now worth, I don't know, like $300,000 apparently, or something like that.
Yeah,
So
crazy, eh?
it's crazy.
So, have you had any mortgage nightmares?
For myself?
For yourself.
No, I had a broker help me the first time, so it really made the process a lot smoother. There were no real surprises with the process when I first bought my house, and then obviously I've done my own mortgage as a mortgage broker as well, right?
I was just gonna say, is that what inspired you to become a mortgage broker instead of
It was. At the time, I had a real estate agent that guided me and said, look, you can go to the bank, you can go do whatever, but I suggest you talk to this guy. He will make sure that you're all set up and queued to go and be as prepared as you can to buy that property. And it was the best advice the realtor gave me in the process.
Amazing.
And it changed my life because now I sell mortgages and help people with buying homes. So it was a really good experience. I thank that broker every time I see him.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's cool.
I did not have as good as an experience, and nor was I as responsible as both of you guys. I got right out of college and went to Toronto, and I wanted to be an actor. So I did what most people do in Toronto. You end up renting a place and you're living with 4 or 5 people, or I eventually whittled it down to 1, but it gets a little bit pricey down there. And then instead of taking my savings, I decided to go to Australia because I didn't want to have winters anymore. So that was my responsible decision making in my 20s. No regrets, but now at almost 40, I'm just kind of wishing that I would have invested. But when I did come back, unfortunately, I had to do a consumer proposal. So I was 31 and I went and I consolidated all my debts because I had to pay for school myself. I had to pay for everything myself. And I was working 3 jobs plus trying to do the acting thing. So I didn't get a lot of help and I worked my tail off and I didn't really have the fruits of that labor. So when I did meet my significant other, everything went in his name. So I was like, no big deal, because we ended up getting hitched. He put a ring on it and I was like, family law, no big deal. Until we bought our last property where we had done a significant amount of renovations and it increased this was like at the top of like 2016. So basically the equity, there was a huge burst obviously in the real estate market. So by 2017, 2018, we had earned equity from all of our renovations, but also from what the market was doing. So we had decided to put our home in our company's name. Now, because I had those lovely credit issues from my 20s haunting me, my name was not on the company. I was a B shareholder, not an A shareholder. So for anyone who's listening, and I know that there are a lot of wives or spouses out there that might be in similar financial situations, I would suggest before you leave, make sure it's amicable, because you can definitely get screwed. When you put your marital home into your business's name, it doesn't really bode well for you.
Well, it's if I may, Stacey, there's huge tax advantages and huge financial advantages of putting your assets into a corporation and things like that. But if you're going to take advantage of it, make sure that you have an equal share or an equal say or a shareholders agreement that protects you, because matrimonial law no longer is applicable if your home is in a corporation that the corporation is now owning and technically renting it back to you, kind of thing. So it can get a little bit difficult, right?
Yeah. And I just wanted to caution everybody, because that's something that I just kind of went through last year. So if you are living and working in the same space and you are running a business with your partner and you do put your mortgage in the business's name, definitely make sure you have those agreements in place and don't just be like, no, I love him, everything will be great. Because sometimes it doesn't always work that way.
It's hard to tell people and to talk to them about how love and business, they have to be somewhat separate in their approach. Mm-hmm. You can love someone, but also make sure that you're both protected. And that's the responsibility of both partners as well, right? That if you care about your spouse today, you should be able to plan for them in case things don't work out in terms of, you know, someone passing away or the breakdown of the relationship, and make sure that everybody's happy moving away from that relationship.
Yeah.
Really sorry to hear you go through that, Stacey. That's terrible. You're a great person and don't deserve to have to go through something like that.
Yeah, it sucked, but I mean, luckily enough, you know, my split was amicable with my partner, so it ended up working out okay. What I really feel bad for is all those bunnies after Hugh Hefner's death. Like, I mean, what are they gonna do? That's what I really want to know.
Really, what are they going to do? That house is definitely in a corporation.
I know.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
Well, you know what? This is Level Up Nation, right? So we're here being real and raw, because at the end of the day, leveling up means that you will have to build your life, your lifestyle, your business, usually on a mountain of mistakes, failures, and opportunities to get educated, right? And that's just the way it is. That's there's nobody out there that has been uber successful in life and business without stubbing their toe once or twice, right? And that's where wisdom comes from. That's where our education comes from. But the thing is that if you are in a situation right now, you're looking to buy or maybe move your home into a corporation, or you're getting a mortgage, you need to surround yourself with professionals. Like Stacey, I didn't have a mortgage nightmare, but I did have a realtor nightmare. And my realtor nightmare was that first home that I got. The mortgage was easy. So like, just like Jonah was saying, you know, it was, you save up for 3 or 4 months and boom, you got a mortgage, or you got a down payment for your mortgage. But what I didn't understand was all the nuances of actually buying, maintaining, and renting out a student rental. And the realtor that I had hired to help me, or my buyer's agent at the time, was more interested in the commission and making it happen, as opposed to educating me on exactly what I should be doing. I should never have actually bought that property in the first place. Not for my first one, because it was intense and very heavy maintenance, and especially for a new home, a new landlord, so to speak, right? So it's important.
You know what? I'm gonna throw something else into that little fire too, because I'm actually throwing my parents under the bus. But they live in Windsor, and I had a policy where I wasn't really crossing streams between London and Windsor. But my parents decided to do a private deal and buy the property right next to them, got a mortgage and put everything in the same name. And that is a huge no-no.
I've done that.
Huge no-no. And here is where you said realtor nightmare, and I'm like, why didn't your realtor tell you that? Because they actually did end up going through another realtor, I found out afterwards.
Oh, really?
And the seasoned realtor, and the same realtor who sold them that property that they were currently living in. And I was like, oh man, this is like realtor 101. Like you never put the same name on title, or I think even with a mortgage, right? Because if anyone who's listening here doesn't know, it actually amalgamates the property, and it has to do with Old English law. So then you have to go fight the township to get it severed again. even though it's already severed, it costs a lot of money. And
Jonah, he's like, uh-huh.
oh yeah,
Little
and
cat grab.
the best part was that apparently the city wanted to charge them to do some new plumbing, like new stuff underneath, because they were trying to upgrade everything going on. So not only were they going to have to pay to get it severed, but pay another 20 grand to fix all the stuff that was underneath the ground.
Yeah. That's a very difficult situation because, like you said, you have the two properties, they merge into one property. From a mortgage standpoint, you can't have two first mortgages. They don't line up that way. Mortgages go like this: 1, 2, 3, 4 if you have to. That's a joke, but you can't have two first mortgages sitting in the same spot. One has to be first and one has to be second. So when the titles merge, it creates all sorts of problems for funding as well.
Oh, so that's okay.
There are a couple of easy fixes for that the realtor should have probably cued them on, like Stacey's hinting at, that and that's sort of like an insider, experienced realtor kind of knowledge thing that you have from experience, and you go, check, this is how you easily do it. Boom, boom, and you don't have problems.
Yeah.
Same thing happened to me. Stacey, same thing happened to me. But it wasn't like I knew this, and I actually gave instructions, and it was the lawyer made a mistake. And the lawyer simply didn't do it as I instructed, and all of a sudden I had a merged property. I had to pay the fee, I had to pay the appraisal, and I had to separate the two properties, and just for nothing. It cost me an extra, I think it was $4,000. It cost me an extra $4,000 just to be able to switch it back into that name, because the township, they wanted the appraisal, they wanted this, they wanted that, they wanted a survey. Actually, it was a survey, not the appraisal. They wanted a survey done. And even though like yesterday it was separate, today it's like, no, pay me $4,000.
I know.
Yeah, I think the cost would have been like $75 for the lawyer to do that thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's nothing, right?
Anyway,
It pays to hire the right professionals. That's for
I feel like anyone who's watching or listening, you hear lawyer and you're just like,
Lawyers are great.
Oh, I love our lawyers. Like, we got some awesome lawyers that we refer out, but it takes experience to know what a good lawyer is and what not a good lawyer is, or somebody that really cares for you and takes care of your clients and things like that. And it takes a lot of experience. There's a lot of nuances in the mortgage business, in the real estate business, and in real estate law as well. So it certainly pays to hire a professional who knows what they're doing.
For sure.
Absolutely. So for anyone who's out there listening or watching, I just kind of want to go through this again. So basically, if you're talking about your first mortgage, right now rates are going down. So it's a pretty good time to call your mortgage broker. I think you definitely get further. Jonah, do you want to tell our listeners who and where you're working for?
Oh, I'm with Dominion Lending Center's Forest City Funding out of London, Ontario. We complete business all across Ontario and across Canada. We have clients in BC, Alberta, Nova Scotia, the prairie, all the prairie provinces. So we're able to help people shop the market, work with one of our 110 different lenders, and provide that personalized touch and accessible communication so that they can understand what the mortgage conversation is all about and what all the terms are and where their risk is before they get in. I want my clients to be super confident and knowledgeable to the level that they want, so that they're able to move forward with confidence in that purchase.
Which is awesome. That's definitely what you want. You want someone who knows how to show you the money. But yeah, so if you're looking to level up, and if you do have a small business, and if you are thinking about putting it in your business's name, definitely have that conversation with your partner. If you are in a spousal relationship, you should be setting forth some sort of instructions to save yourself. If you're looking to get a mortgage right now, definitely try to have at least 20% down. Is that not correct?
It all depends. If you're self-employed, you can purchase with as little as 5% down, following the bank rules and showing them the documents that they want to see, like 2 years of income taxes. if you maybe don't claim all the income you make, 20% down gets you to a market or lenders that will look at as little as 3 months of your last banking statements showing the deposits of your business income in there. So there's a wide range when you're self-employed, whether you're commission self-employed or a seasonal self-employed type business. There are a number of different lenders out there that aren't the banks, but have great products and great options, and they'll save you money and help you get into that house. And perhaps you don't have to pay the CRA as much income and, keep things going the way they're going.
Awesome. So I feel like my conversation was getting a little final thoughty, wrap-up-y, and that's totally your thing, Dustin. So I'm going to hand it over to you. Do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, you know what? You want experience. You want wisdom. That's what you want. When you're hiring a professional like a realtor, a mortgage broker, or a lawyer, you want somebody that's been around the track a few times, simply because they've made the mistakes. They have, right? And they've made the mistakes personally, or they've seen it happen. And you want to be able to tap into that wisdom. There's a lot of new agents or not a lot of new mortgage brokers or new lawyers out there that maybe not have that experience. So you definitely want to tap into that 100%. And the second thing is you want to tap into people that are not afraid to be transparent, to be able to share with you the stories that we just shared with you today, simply because you want somebody that truly cares about your experience and protecting you and helping you avoid some of the things that can happen out in the industry, like having your titles merge when you buy two side-by-side properties under the same name, which I've done, and it's painful and it sucks. So, hire experience. Experience will always pay, and it'll always give you a really good return on your investment of time and energy and money.
Absolutely. So guys, if you've just been tuning in, you're listening to Level Up Nation, and we have been talking all about mortgage mayhem, the do's, the don'ts, and how to level up. So if you've loved this little potty that we've had, please hit us up in the comments. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what you loved, what you want to know more of, and if we can make Jonah blush anymore, that works too.
Absolutely.
Dustin, do you want to tell our listeners about our new website and where they can go to find more episodes if they want to binge watch?
Yes, if you want to binge watch Dustin and Stacey all day long, you can. Just go to levelupnationlive.com. You can see all our episodes, get to know us a little bit better, and also have all the links to be able to download the podcast and register for it so you can get all the new episodes as they happen. That's levelupnationlive.com.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Jonah, thank you so much for being on the show. Dustin, as always, lovely to chat. And we'll see you next time.
All right. Ciao for now.